Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism. And I've got a couple of things that I want to talk about. And yeah, I've got a show topic that I'll get to. Maybe. But, you know, it's one of those things to where, you know, you just sort of like, you've got a bunch of things sort of running through your mind and you want to sort of hit on all of them. Now, on Friday, I had to think there for a second. Yeah, on Friday, I talked about the race that I was doing over the weekend, the Hamsterweheel, where I basically ran in a giant circle for 6 hours. Well, ran for little over 2.5 and then did like a run walk sort of thing for the remaining 3.5-ish hours. And it wasn't actually a giant circle, but it was a loop of sorts. So ran a straight line for about 1 3/4 miles and then turned around and came back. And then went up a hill that I have lovingly referred to as Molehill because, you know, there's the whole mountain molehill sort of thing. And after being out there for several hours, that hill winds up seeming a lot bigger than it actually is. And I wound up finishing with 32 miles officially in 6 hours, 8 minutes, and 6 seconds. Now, wasn't my goal. I did not hit the goal of 33 miles that I thought I was going to hit. And, you know, it's one of those things to where when I started that last loop, and again, I know it's not actually a loop. It looked more like a bowl or pot or something, but whatever. About a mile into the last, loop that I did, my body just said, yeah, you're not doing this running thing anymore. Now, I thought in my head, it was, nope, I know that I can wind up finishing this lap and start another, and then I'll get credit, but my body just basically, nope. And it was all that I could do to just continue walking the rest of the loop. And because I had to go up a hill, that means that I got to come down a hill. And so I was able to kind of do something akin to running for like the last maybe 1/4 mile of the last lap that I did. And again, I'm definitely happy with what I did because, again, my projection was somewhere between 30 to 36. I was shooting for 33. But again, very happy with how I finished. And I know that I said that if I hit 33 miles, I would wind up upgrading that half marathon that I'm doing next month in northern Maine because apparently I'm crazy. Said, you know, if I hit 33, then I'll wind up doing the full marathon. Well, I've decided I'm going to go ahead and do that full marathon anyway. And again, there's some, you know, significance with the dates that just means something personal to me. So, yeah, it makes sense for me to just go ahead and do that. And then I think I'm probably going to, as far as, you know, longer runs, stick to half marathons. Although I do want to do the Hamsterwheel again. Although I'm going to take a completely different strategy and be a little more relaxed with it. Because I think really what sort of took a lot out of me, and if you would have seen me on Saturday, walking was not very easy after having gone 32 miles for me. But the fact that I'm already game planning how I'm going to attack this thing next year should let you know something about, just, yeah. I don't know. On the one hand, it's like, wait a second, like you can barely walk, but you're already planning how to do this thing next year. But, it's so fun because you just meet so many interesting people. And, there was somebody had asked me on Facebook a couple days ago. I forget exactly when it was. And not, that this is a Ask Me Anything sort of episode, but the question was, like, hey, Darryl, how'd you wind up getting into running? And, I believe I've said before, like, I'm writing a book about how I dropped a bunch of weight and became a runner. So it's something that definitely will wind up being answered more fully in the book, and then detailed of, here's the different races and here's the thought process that was going through my mind through the races, things of that sort. But for me, the becoming a runner thing, started losing weight, wanted to, get back in shape, was going to the gym, and then I think I mentioned before how I kind of got tricked into doing a triathlon because I didn't understand what my French-Canadian gym owner had said. The owner of the gym that I was going to at the time, she was French-Canadian, she had an accent. I thought she said we're doing a triathlon on the roof, but she said we're doing a triathlon as a group. And because I heard on the roof, yeah, go ahead, sign me up. Because I'm thinking, like swim across a kiddie pool and then, like run laps on the roof of the gym. But, that aside, I'm not good with the swimming like I thought I could. And I tried swimming again, and for some reason, like, I just can't do the breathing and the water thing anymore, even though many, many years ago I was a fairly good swimmer. Not Michael Phelps or anything, but, like, I was a decent swimmer. So, all right, you know what? I'm not going to drown on the land. As long as I'm on the land, I'm not going to drown. And so, all right, well, in addition to the working out, let me do this to just sort of, like, stay in shape and get in better shape and do something. And then I just started signing up for races and signing up for longer races. And yeah, that's kind of how I became a runner. I'll talk a little bit more about it, maybe. Plus, I've got a book recommendation. Stay tuned.
The FPP Peace Prize was created in 2009 with a mission to recognize a person or group that has, through deeds, words, and actions, worked to make the world a more peaceful place, where it shall be legal for anyone to do anything he wants, provided only that he not initiate or threaten violence against the person or legitimately owned property of another. Nominations are open each year until September 30th, with voting from October 1st until the first Tuesday of November. Vote now at peaceprize.xyz.
The Doublespeak Dictionary by Leslie Starr O'Hara satirizes the marked difference between the ideal of we the people and the reality of we the elite, while offering an insightful glimpse into the clockworks of the totalitarian mind. Ever irreverent but never irrelevant, the Doublespeak Dictionary serves as a subversive and humorous but timely reminder that the emperor has no clothes. The Doublespeak Dictionary is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry. Online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. So, I know this is not an Ask Me Anything episode, but I'm kind of answering questions because, it's just something that I kind of want to talk about. And again, I've got a book recommendation that I will get to at some point during the show. So, how I became a runner. Again, wanted to do something in addition to just working out at the gym. And many, many years ago, I was, somewhat athletic. Definitely not like an all-state athlete or, anything like that. but I wanted to, do some kind of athletic something. And, well, what's easy to do that you don't need to find a bunch of people? Well, running. And, yeah, I know you could go play pickup basketball somewhere, but, living in a small town, and, yeah, I know technically it's a city and it's larger than other places that other people live, but, based on where I've lived previously, this is a small town. There's not necessarily, just basketball courts that people are hanging out at wanting to play basketball. And not that easy to find people to play football or baseball or, fill in the blank other sport. So, running. You can run by yourself, and there are, again, competitive events to where you go and you compete against other people, but it's also sort of, that friendly competition. And I know that a lot of people think, competition, that's how people wind up, shooting one another and blah, blah, blah. Well, no, there is such a thing. Believe it or not, there is such a thing as friendly competition to where, yes, I want to run faster than you. I want to score more points than you. But at the end of the day, I'm still willing to go, have a beer with you or sit down and chat with you after the race. Like, you're not my enemy because we're competing. And that's something that I think a lot of people that have never really done sports might not understand the, competitive, how one can wind up, just because you're competing doesn't mean that you're, enemies or whatever. But again, wanted to, stay in shape, and then found events and just started signing up for things. And, I think I want to do this one and that one. And, let me try this half marathon thing. That was fun. Let me find another one to do. I'm going to find another one and another one. And, this running in circles for 6 hours thing. That sounds really fun. Let me try that. And again, it was fun. Painful at times, but fun. And again, I think next year, if I'm able to do it, and part of it is timing, and I've got another big goal in mind that I want to do, and the race that I want to do next year was on the same weekend as this race this year, and if they're on the same weekend next year, well, I'm going for the bigger goal, not this one, even though, again, I do want to do the hamster wheel again. So that answers that of, how I sort of became the runner. And now one thing that I've noticed myself doing, and a lot of this is because, I use a tracker on my phone when I do go out running to keep track of my mileage, my times, etc. I've found myself going and looking fairly in-depth at my times and, how did I do here compared to this? And what if I would this and that? And how can I improve my times? And how does this time compare to other race times, etc., etc.? Now, again, because I went 32 miles and my phone didn't start immediately on the tracking because I forgot to turn a setting off. So was maybe 30 seconds after the race officially started before I actually started tracking the time on my phone. But looking at the splits and whatnot, my half marathon time was just a couple of minutes off of my personal record from the DeMar half about a month and a half ago. So really happy there. And the marathon pace of when I hit 26.2 miles was about the 4 hours, 45 minute mark, which, again, really good. And a couple minutes off of where I thought I would have been at that pace, or rather at that mark. But again, because it was a smaller event, so I wasn't necessarily always near another runner. And I've personally found for me that when I'm near another runner, I can go a little faster. and run a little further before needing to take what's essentially a walk break. Now, that might not make sense of, wait, how is it a break if you're walking? But, all right, I just sort of need to, rest my legs or my lungs or whatnot. But I can keep moving forward. I just can't do the run motion and, sort of get into a pattern of run, walk, run, walk. So, again, about 4:45 on that marathon. And if I can hit that in December, so roughly 1 month in northern Maine, then I will be incredibly happy. And again, big goal for next year is to run New York City. I've got a couple of things in mind of how that is possible. Well, there are a couple of ways that it is possible. One of them is to get a lottery pick, and the lottery opens up sometime, I believe, early next year. I need to look in a little closer to find out exactly when that opens up. But then there's also ways that one can qualify by collecting money for various charities. Now, you can't just go, oh, yeah, I collected money for the local homeless shelter. No. There's a process where the charity gets approved with the New York Running Club. I think that's who sponsors the New York City Marathon officially. But, the charity winds up getting approved, and then there's a process. And again, if I don't get the lottery pick, then definitely I am going to do everything in my power to wind up being a runner for a charity. And again, that is my huge goal for 2018, is to run the New York City Marathon. Stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to BIPCOT.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com.
Hi, this is Roger Paxton from the Lava Flow Podcast, the Free Coast Freecast, and Pax Libertas Productions, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism. And I've got a question for you. Yes, I know every Friday I answer yours. You can send those over ama.fppradio.com. That's AMA, as in Ask Me Anything. And again, you can ask anything. I will answer it. It might not be the answer you want. It might be a rambling answer, but I will answer. ama.fppradio.com. But right now, I've got the question for you. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you use and promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? If so, then you need Spend-A-Bit in your arsenal. Spend-A-Bit is the search engine for things you can buy, you guessed it, with Bitcoin. They've aggregated millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Spend a bit. Use my affiliate link, spendabit.fppradio.com. That's spendabit.fppradio.com. And if you're a Bitcoin accepting merchant like I am, ask about their merchant suite to reach even more customers. That's Spend-A-Bit, all one word, spendabit.fppradio.com. gmail.com. Now, I said that I have a book recommendation, and I do. And I will go ahead and jump into that book recommendation right now. And I post it before I get into the book recommendation, before I tell you what the book is, before I tell you who the author is. And if you've listened to the show for a while, you will recognize the name of the author. You might not recognize the name of the book, but you'll definitely recognize the name of the author because it's someone that I've spoken about before. And I will say that aside from running the New York City Marathon next year, another goal of mine is to meet the man that wrote this book. Not because he wrote this book, but because I'm a huge fan of his because of his podcast, his other books, and just everything that he does. So, I was going to say, before I mention the book, I had posted a recommendation of this book in a forum that I'm in, because I forget exactly what the topic was in the forum, but it fit, and I was like, hey, everybody, I recommend you pick up a copy of this book. And somebody responded that said, well, as a gay man, I don't need to get in touch with my feminine side. It's like, well, that's not what the book's about at all, but by all means, just go ahead, jump to conclusions. The book is titled The Mask of Masculinity: How Men Can Embrace Vulnerability, Create Strong Relationships, and live their fullest lives. The author, none other than the host of The School of Greatness, Lewis Howes. Now, I guess, if I were to, stretch some things, I could see how someone could jump to a conclusion that this is somehow about embracing your inner feminine, but that's not what the book is about at all. And really, the book, and Lewis even says this himself, that the book is not intended just for men, it's intended for women as well. I could not agree more. And if there's a book that everyone should read, and should is not a mandate of, oh, you're not a good person if you've not read this book. And I realize that there are a lot of libertarians that think that should means something other than what it means. It's just a very strong recommendation. I would put this on a should read list. Because again, it's not about, oh, here's how you become a weak little man. No. It's about the various masks that people put up to hide their vulnerability. And being vulnerable doesn't mean you're weak. Doesn't mean that at all. Being vulnerable means that you're willing to take risk, you're willing to accept what comes at you. Now, it could be emotional vulnerability, it could be physical vulnerability, but, so many people are not vulnerable in either way. People want to stay in their comfort zone. And why do people want to stay in their comfort zone? Well, because, it's sort of defined right there in the word. It is comfortable in the comfort zone. If it wasn't comfortable, they wouldn't call it the comfort zone. So people want to stay where it's comfortable. But where does growth happen? Now, by growth, I'm talking, physical and emotional growth happens when you step outside of that comfort zone. Was it comfortable running 32 miles on Saturday? No, my legs still hurt. But I did it. And same sort of thing. If you want to, grow as a person, emotionally, physically, mentally, etc., you need to step outside of the comfort zone. Now, what are the masks? And I will get a little more in-depth on my review here of The Mask of Masculinity. Let's talk about some of these masks. And why do people feel the need to wear them. This is Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. Coinbase is a simple and secure online Bitcoin wallet for sending, receiving, and storing Bitcoin. Coinbase also allows you to buy and sell Bitcoin using a bank account or use their tools to accept Bitcoin as a merchant. Coinbase has more than 1 million consumer wallets and is trusted by over 25,000 merchants, including Overstock.com, Khan Academy, Reddit, and of course, FPP. Get started at coinbase.fppradio.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry, online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. And you know, this has been one of those episodes that I didn't, when I started recording like 25 minutes ago or whenever it was, I had no clue that this was going to be the episode that came out of me. But this is the episode that we're getting. And, you know, it's, I think, one of those things to where it's really good that this is the episode that we're getting, instead of one of these, hey, let me read a list about how personal growth happens. Now, I do have a list of how personal growth happens. It's actually titled The 7 Stages of Personal Growth. I could read a list of here's how and why you should remove these various masks. But again, this is just, you know, sort of the raw, real Darryl coming at you. And again, book review, The Mask of Masculinity by Lewis Howes. Available from Amazon, available from Barnes & Noble, wherever books are sold. And yes, I will post a link in the show notes, linking over to Amazon, of course, using my affiliate link to where you can buy it. And I'm not allowed, in accordance with Amazon's terms of service, to say that I wind up getting a couple of pennies if you buy the book from Amazon. But I will post a link in the show notes with my affiliate link. So the various masks, and he lists 9 of them, and you could probably think of other masks that men wear. The Stoic, and women as well. This is not to say that only men wear masks. Basically every human puts on various masks to sort of hide and reveal their true self. The Stoic mask, the athletic mask, the material mask, the sexual mask, the aggressive mask, the Joker mask, the invincible mask, the know-it-all mask, and the alpha mask. Now, again, not going into detail about what the various masks are. When I say I'm not going into detail, that means I, in my review here, not going into detail, but the book does. Book also talks about how to remove the various masks. And I think it's important that everybody read the book, because then if we all know that people are wearing masks, then maybe we'll be more comfortable to remove them. And we won't feel the need to hide who we are. We won't feel the need to put masks on, but society basically encourages people to wear masks because you get punished for being your real self. That's it for today. I'll be back on Friday answering your questions. ama.fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart, We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.